Hello all and welcome to the falls prevention presentation, which will be presented by myself, Joel Wharton. So a bit of an outline of what we'll be going through today. Firstly, we'll talk about the definition of what a fall is, identify falls risk factors, identify ways and strategies to prevent falls, understand the role of health practitioners in reducing your risk of falls. We'll also look more specifically into what an exercise physiologist can do and how exercises can improve your balance. And then also look at the services that are available at Bendigo Community Health Services. So what is a fall? The World Health Organization's definition of a fall is an event that results in a person coming to rest inadvertently on the ground or floor or other lower level. A fall is a sudden, uncontrolled and unintentional movement. So just a few facts relating to falls. The annual estimated health costs about falls is about $500 million each year in Australia. It's the leading cause of injury-related death and hospitalisation in adults 65 years and older. 1 in 3 people over 65 years fall annually. So about 96,385 people aged 65 years and older had a fall that required a hospital stay. And in Victoria, falls accounted for almost 3/4 of injury-related hospital admissions and more than half of injury-related emergency department presentations. So are falls just a part of aging? Short answer, no. Falls do not have to be a normal part of getting older. There's a lot of ways to help prevent falls, which we'll go over throughout today. Often there are causes or risk factors that you may not have thought about, which are linked to falling. There are 2 different types of risk factors. There are personal risk factors and then also environmental risk factors. So the personal risk factors are poor vision or changing eyesight, poor strength and muscle weakness, poor balance, your medications, dehydration and diet, sore feet and unsafe shoes, reduced sensation or feeling in your feet, and then many health conditions such as stroke, Parkinson's disease, dementia, diabetes, arthritis, depression, osteoporosis, and lower blood pressure can also be a risk factor in increasing the likelihood of having a fall. Environmental risk factors can also play a part in a chance of having a fall. So these are things like poor lighting or not turning lights on, trip and slip hazards such as objects left on the floor, loose mats and slippery floor surfaces, uneven surfaces such as step over doorways, shower hobs and stairs, wet and uneven paths, and tools and other objects left in the garden or in the garage. So there's a few different types of prevention strategies. So these can be things such as moving your body. So these can be things that an exercise physiologist can look after. So these are stuff like improving your balance and strengthening your legs through the use of exercising and specific exercises. You can always improve your health as well. So going to your doctor to check your medications to see if there's any other ones which may be more beneficial for you and reduce your risk of falls. Keep a healthy mind and fuel your body, and remove hazards so you are less likely to slip or trip due to the hazards. Checking your eyesight, wear safe and supportive footwear, don't walk in socks, have adequate lighting throughout the home, and then the use of adding handrails and those type of things can also be a preventive strategy. So seeking help, you can go to your doctor for a review of your medications. You could come and see myself or Ashley to have a balance and strengthening exercise program designed specific to yourself to help reduce the risk of falls. You can see an occupational therapist to assess your home environment for hazards, and then maybe kind of look at getting some handrails installed or something like that. You can see your podiatrist for foot care and footwear advice, and then an optometrist for your eyesight, getting your eyesight regularly checked. So specifically to what myself and Ashley do, our kind of strategy to help with preventing falls is strengthening exercises, which are to be completed 2 sets for about 10 to 15 repetitions. And then those are to be completed about 2 to 3 times a week. And then also some specific balance tasks, which can be completed daily for about 20 seconds for each of the exercises. So here are just some strengthening exercises for the lower body. So these ones here are looking at strengthening basically your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your calf muscles, along with your glute muscles as well. So the first one here is a knee extension, which is the top one there, which is looking at basically lifting from seated position, straightening your leg out and then back down. Then we have a mini squat, which is just underneath. That one's looking at basically you squatting down, making sure you're holding on to either a chair or have a wall nearby or even a bench, and squatting down as far as you feel comfortable going, and then coming back up into a standing position. Next, we have heel raise and toe raises, which are basically how they are said. Heel raise is lifting up, so you're raising up your heels. So basically coming up into your tippy toes, and then the toe raise is the opposite of that, lifting up your toes. And then lastly is a sit to stand, which is a exercise which is done readily by a lot of our clients at strength training. So I'm sure a majority of you have done a sit to stand before. Now we move on to some balance exercises. With the balance exercises, these can be done daily if you can have the time. These ones I'd also recommend having a wall or a chair or a bench like the lady has in the diagrams nearby, just so if you need to, you can hold on. If possible, it's better off to do them without holding on, therefore it's challenging your balance more. So these ones are feet together and then trying to balance for as long as you can. With this one, if you want to make it hard, you can close your eyes to make it more challenging. There's also step forward. So this is just walking one foot in front of the other. So going heel toe, walking in front of each other. This one's a good one to do down your hallway, so you have the wall nearby at all times. Then we have one foot in front of the other, and this is just static. So just holding the position there for as long as you can. And then obviously swapping legs over. So you have your left foot in front and then you have your right foot in front, and holding that position for 30 seconds if you can. And lastly, we have the single leg standing balance, which is basically trying to balance on one leg for as long as you can. So what happens if you do fall? The first thing is to don't panic, to stay calm, remain positive and assess the situation. And then you have to decide whether you can get up safely. So on the next page, we have this table here, kind of explaining what you should do if you feel you can get up safely, and then if you can't get up safely. So I'm going to go through, if you can get up safely, the kind of steps to take. So basically you should try and roll onto your side and push up onto your hands and knees. Use stable furniture to help yourself sit up, and it says see pictures over the page. I'll go through that on the next page, a couple of ways to get up. To stand up slowly and safely, and then make sure you rest once you do kind of get up to your feet, and obviously tell someone you've had a fall, and if need be, see your doctor. If you can't get up safely, it is important that you can in some way get somebody's attention, either through making a loud noise and calling out to someone who you know is in the house or in the garden, to try reach a phone if it's not too far away, to crawl or slide to the front door and yell out to hopefully have someone walk past, or to press your personal alarm if you have one. Make sure you conserve as much energy as you can while you're lying there, until someone can arrive and assist you. If you do have things like pillows, blankets around, they could be very useful to help you kind of stay comfortable while you're on the ground. And once the arrivals helped, make sure you explain to them how to fall, and see a doctor if need be. So here's just a couple of quick ways of how to safely get up off the floor. The one on the left-hand side looks at using your knees, while the one on the right-hand side looks at a way to use your hands. So they're quite similar in their approach. Basically, you want to try and firstly push up to be sitting on your bottom, and then you can either use a chair or something nearby to help push yourself up, using your knees or your hands. If you are interested in getting a copy of these resources, we do have those available. So if you do wish to, just let myself or Ashley know, and we can provide you with copies of these. So in summary, of the strategies to reduce falls risk, it's to stay as physically active as possible, get regular eye checks, talk to your GP about your medications, manage chronic medical conditions, remove any slip and trip hazards around the house or in the garden, wear supportive footwear, and to stay hydrated will help with your ability to reduce falls risk. So if you feel during this COVID-19 period that your balance or falls risk has changed, please feel free to get in contact with either myself or Ashley, and we can look at some specific exercise to help with your balance. And we can even have a one-on-one review session to assess your balance in more depth and come up with a bit of a strategy and plan. So if you are wanting to do that, feel free to give us a call on 5406 1487, or email us at physicalactivityprograms@bchs.com.au, or at your next check-in phone call from Ashley or myself, please mention to us if you feel like your balance has declined, and we can look at some strategies to implement some exercises to help improve your balance and hopefully reduce your falls risk. So in conclusion, obviously the main takeaway point I want you all to get from today is that falls can be prevented, and they aren't just part of the aging process. So they can obviously be prevented through different strategies such as exercise, your medication, eating well, and then correct footwear, and also getting your eyes checked readily. So take charge of your health and utilize your resources. So all the resources today, be it those exercises that I went through, both the strengthening your legs ones and the balance exercises, and then how to safely get up and down off the floor using your knees and using your hands. If you are interested in having any of them resources, feel free to let myself or Ashley know, and we can either email or send them out to you. If you have any feedback, questions, or suggestions for future topics that you would like covered in a presentation, please let either myself or Ashley know, and we could look at providing you with a presentation or some questions in the future with regards to that. And that's just the resources that I used throughout the presentation. And finally, I'd just like to say thank you for listening and taking the time to listen to the presentation on falls prevention. I hope it was insightful and you've gained some valuable information out of the program. So thank you for your time.